Hello and welcome back to Deconstructed. I'm your host Sam Animo Mackenzie, and with me, back after a week, thought it'd be longer, but fuck it, we can't line up any guests because everyone's really busy playing Counter-Strike 2, is Harry without Wi-Fi Richards. And Harry, how you doing, mate? I missed you.
Yeah, been a long time, but yeah, moved to London, promised land, can't get internet.
Promised,
just impossible to get fucking Wi-Fi apparently. So yeah, it's not much, but it's something. We're on 4G. At least like I've got the O2 Arena like 500 meters that way, so I've got good, nice little 4G. We'll see how it goes.
Wonderful. So today we thought, we'd have maybe a bit more of a light-hearted episode because of the issues, and we honestly don't know if this is gonna fucking work. And we thought we'd talk about Falcons and build our little dream teams. But before we do that, because we already know one piece of this new Falcons team, I just wanted to get your or two pieces, I guess. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Zonic moving to Falcons.
Honestly, I think it stinks. I think it fucking stinks. I think he could have gone to probably any team, or State of Vitality, which is going to be the number one team for a while. I think G2 could have done with him. Astralis, Heroic, he could have taken control of the new Heroic project with Arcadian. Like, there's so many places for this guy to go, and he's gone to Falcons. And you're like, unless they're literally promising him like this fucking super team, like full control over this super team, like what's the point? Like, why is he gone? Right? So like,
well, surely they would be promising that. Like it's Zonic. That's
I'm
kind
sure
of
they are,
Zonic's
but Falcons with unlimited money, I think, is still going to be a worse team than Vitality for like a year, 2 years. Like, I know he's doing this, like, it's a long-term thing. Like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, you sold out for some money and fine. It's just disappointing for me that Zonic did it now. Like, I understand he wants to have control from the get-go or whatever, but come on, like, Vitality is so good. Like, what are you doing? Like, what I think has happened is Zonic's ego got checked when Apex kind of took control of the team. Start of this year, probably. He was basically like, I need my style. Like, that's when dupreeh started being a proper entry bitch and not like the Astralis fucking nonsense. When Apex took control of that team, I think Zonic must have had to have lost that. And he's thought, I don't like this, so I'm out. And this is the thing. Like, I know people like, the rumor was Vitality off to pay cut, but come on, like, you're not really there for money. And I think that's probably just a negotiation.
No, you absolutely are there for money.
Well, this is maybe he was. Maybe like, I thought Zonic was the one. He's the one winner from him and Magus, the only ones who came out from post the show as well.
Out.
And now he's just out for money as well. So
everyone's out for money, Harry.
But this is the thing, and and we'll get into the fun side of the Falcons project later. But you can't talk about them without just saying, like, it's like they might sign all these superstars and whatever, but it's still disappointing that they're able to. Like, I do think it's kind of just bad for the scene. I think they're going to be able to do what City have done in football, what Newcastle are trying to do. Like, they're going to be just paying too much money. They're going to inflate an already inflated transfer market, and it's just I don't think it's good for the scene. I think it is sports washing, even if it is like, as long as I know it's like esports is small and this or that, but I still think it has an impact. I still think you're seeing all the lines from Zonic and Lars Robel that you see from people like Neymar joining the Saudi League. It's the same. It's like, oh, we're gonna change it from within. Like, fucking hell, like, you're Jordan Henderson, not Martin Luther King. Like, this is not gonna happen, Zonic. Like, you just accept it that you're for money. Just don't try and pretend that you're there for anything else. I'm fine with people getting the bag. That is fine. But when you come out in interviews and you're like, I'm here for the long-term project. I've left the number one team in the world for a long-term project, and that you can enforce positive change from within. Like, that is what I take issue with. No one cares. You've taken the bag. That's fine. And sorry, this is a long tangent, but it annoyed me. You've taken the bag. Just say you've taken the bag. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Everyone knows you've taken the bag.
Can I play devil's advocate by focusing on the long-term thing?
Right.
So we all know partner system's coming down in just over a year, right? And at that point, with how CS is now in the whole like international team meta, without the protection of the partner teams, which teams are going to be the most successful, because it will be the ones that have the money to keep pumping it into these teams, to keep signing the players, to keep refreshing the rosters.
The one with Zyro in it?
Get the best team possible. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate Zyro. Ooh, that hurt to say. I appreciate Zyro. But if you're talking about this long-term project, if you're talking about the part where in that interview, Zonic also said, you know, I think it'd be really cool to win a major in 1.6 in Go and in CS2. Falcons might be a good place to do that. It might be. Yes, there's the bag.
Tell me why it's better than Vitality.
Yes, there's the human right. I'm not saying it's better than Vitality, Harry. I'm not going to say that.
So it's not for the major, is it? He's not left to win a major.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that, because Vitality, like, unless CS2 completely fucks everything, you're probably, and Zonic admitted this himself, you're probably looking at Vitality being favourites for Copenhagen. Right? You being realistic. But yeah, maybe if you're looking at long-term success over a sustained period in CS2, maybe, and because of the bag and because of what they can offer, which I do think is also an interesting angle considering how we're seeing money in esports at the moment and what Falcons will be able to do compared to other orgs. Maybe Falcons is the place for that kind of real long-term success in CS2. Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
What we should do is follow along this daft narrative that we're crafting, and you know, let's fucking do it. Let's do it. Let's pretend that this is really what's going to happen. Let's pretend that this is the best thing in the world, and that they're going to have a super team. So let's build one, because everyone knows the sports washing stuff already.
Yeah, but before we go into this, I'd just like to ask you, just for the sake of it, do you think a single current Falcons player will be playing for Falcons on January 1st, 2025?
25. See, some people might be high on Boris. I'm a bit less high on Boris. I think he's the only one who has a real chance, and I don't think he will. I still think he's going to be phased out. I don't think he's quite got the game intelligence, and that sounds like a harsh thing to say, but I just don't think he's quite there. So he's the only one. If I had to put money on it, no.
I mean,
no chance.
I don't know if you've interviewed him, but there's no way he can be all there. Sorry.
Yeah, and Ed, did you hear what SDY did? First interview after Boris. It's so nice people listen now. First thing.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, no, I think there's a good chance that these Falcons players, you know, not counting MBK and Body, like the young trio, I think they're all young anyway. I think there's a good chance that we'll still see them around tier 1 more than we do now in 2025. Like, I think Falcons will potentially struggle to, not that we won't come back to that idea towards the end, but Falcons will potentially struggle to get people instantly, and you'll see them sticking around for a year, and with Zonic, they will become better players. And I think especially like in MHL, you could see in a much better place in a year's time. But yeah, let's build a super team. And before we properly get into each player, I wanted to ask, do you have a specific angle that you're going to approach building a super team from?
Wow, just the normal roles you want. You want 2 people who are comfortable anchoring. You want 2 people who are comfortable rotating on CT, and then on T side you need, you know, like a star aggressor, like a little bitch to trade your entry fragger, your old school entry fragger. Normally IGL always.
So of course we're going to do we're going to do opener, closer, anchor, IGL,
right,
or all that bullshit. Of course we're going to do that. But I mean, are you going to approach it more from an angle of, haha, I am Saudi, haha, I have money, or are you going to do it of like, and in that sense, I can buy whoever the fuck I want, or are you going to do it in the sense of like, you know, maybe there's a chance that Nico quite likes playing with his cousin, and it doesn't matter how much money I could throw at him unless I have to get Hunter as well. So therefore, these players might be more realistic for me to sign.
I mean, I think even the Saudis aren't going to pump in like the crazy money everyone kind of expects. Like they will. Like it's going to be stupid how much money they're paying, but I think it's more going to be like a Man City these days than a PSG. Do you know what I mean? Like I think they're kind of going to go for.
I don't know.
Lots of debt.
I don't think they'll give a fuck about return on investment. I really don't think they'll give a fuck.
I think Zonic will. No. I think Zonic is the person in charge.
I think Zonic will be like that, and then it will just be like, yes, but we don't care. Have blank check.
Right.
No.
Yes, and I think Zonic will
but
be
that's
smart
not how
with
I'm going to approach it. I'm not going to approach it that way. I'm going to approach it the way I think is smarter and the way I think Zonic might. But I didn't know if you were just going to be like, haha, I have no.
No, we've got to do it somewhat realistically, don't we? Like, there's some people that you just can't see.
Okay, so opener, closer, anchor, IGL, or you pick the first role and tell me who you pick.
Anchor. Got to start at the bottom. Anchor. Okay. And I think this is an obvious one. I think he's already been linked there. You've just got to go with Magus. It's the Zonic connection. You've just got to go with Magus. And then there's like other people that you could think of. There's like, I don't buy all the K-Sero Axel being an anchor, like your main anchor bollocks. I'd rather they were just real star players and started rotating again. So I think the others you'd look at is like Naf, maybe Bit. I don't really love that idea, but maybe Bit, like a JKS, Mezzi, Perfecto, Shush, like these types of players. And I just think Magus is just the best one out of all of them. He's got the winning mentality. He's got the Zonic connection. I think I would be pretty shocked if he didn't end up at Falcons when his contract runs out. I don't know when it does, but I'd assume end of this year, probably quite similar, but I don't know. Obviously, I'd rather have him stay in Vitality for the same reasons I'd rather have Zonic stay in Vitality, but I think Magus is pretty likely to join Falcons at some point, maybe after Copenhagen. Who knows? But yeah, who would you have?
Okay, so I'm just looking now, right? Because he's younger than I thought he was. Okay. So I was going to say, like, I agree with Magus, but I'll be honest, I thought that guy was 27, 28 already. He's not. He's 25, which kind of ruins what my point was going to be, because my point was then going to be, like, maybe I'd go down a more, like, longevity kind of angle and go for a Naf or Mezzi, thinking they were both 24. Naf's 25, Mezzi's 24.
But it's a mass play thing, right? Like Magus and Naf are going to be burnt out much quicker than Mezzi.
The UK thing in me says that Mezzi, and I think with Mezzi, and I think I've said it on podcast before, if anything ever goes wrong with JKS on G2, Mezzi's who I'd be looking at. I think we've seen it now. Now he's not IGLing again. Like, Mezzi, if he wasn't on a team that is unfortunately shit, Mezzi would be incredibly good in most roles in the game and potentially a top 20 player. But he's never going to be that in Fnatic because they're never going to consistently make the runs. Like, if they make one deep run a year, it's a good year for Fnatic. So he's never going to be that while he's with Fnatic. And for that reason, I think Mezzi could be perfect. But here's the thing, right? And with Magus, and obviously you've got the Zonic connection, which could make it realistic. But I think I'm gonna go at it more from the angle of, like, which players, like, Magis could now spend another year with Vitality, and depending on when he would potentially agree to join Falcons, they could win so much that he's like, why would I leave? Why would I go to this team? And I think an interesting way of looking at this is which players are going to be frustrated in a year's time, which players are still going to have won nothing, are going to be either looking back in their careers and thinking, wow, I won all this, I've won fuck all since, like nah, or, you know, someone like Mezzi, who at that point will be 25, and he's looking at his career like, how many years do I have left? I've not achieved as much as I could. And in terms of Naf or Mezzi, which one do I think is better? Considering the rest of the people I'm going to go for, I'm going to say Naf. Naf would be my anchor, personally.
Yeah, the only thing with NAF is I think I would really be looking for like the young and hungry angle. Like I've said Magus because I just think he's just the best in his role in the world and the Zonic thing. But if I was like coming in as a GM, no Zonic angle and Magus was off limits, I think I'd more be looking like either someone like Crimbo, like a Jim Pat, like those kind of players who are already anchors. Crimbo, like he's too good for big. He would be perfect as like an anchor in a super team. He just needs to do it. Crimbo is so good. I think that's kind of where I'd be looking. Like other than that, I wouldn't. I think Magus, if he comes, you just have to do it. Slam dunk. If not,
actually,
I think
if not,
I think Crimbo.
Fuck it, I'm changing my mind. Crimbo's mine.
Crimbo's
my pick. Yeah.
Let's go Crimbo.
So are we gonna? Yeah. Okay. We'll do it that way then. We'll both suggest and then we'll combine. So Crimbo is the anchor for our super team.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sweet. Should we go for IGL next? Get the leader.
IGL.
Yeah.
We're not giving him any control over the team though. He is just go A, go B. We are the GMs.
Fantastic.
For IGL, they're all kind of old. This is the thing. Like I know who. If you want to get a young IGL that's good, it's Shuey or bust. Really. I still think that like especially a team like this. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, well, I think you have to go Shuey just because this is like a future-proof thing. He's not signing in a month. He's signing at some point before 2025, right? This is a long-term super team. I think you have to go Shuey. He's the only one who really looks like he's gonna be that next level of like a Carrigan type figure. But there's also Glaive. I think Glaive Zonic would fuck it.
Come
it's
on.
Funny.
Just
I'm still on board. I'm still on board.
Yeah.
I think you could chuck in Acadian as a little bit of a curveball because, you know, he's got nothing better to do at the minute. I'd much rather see him in Falcons than Nip or Liquid for sure. 100%.
Okay, hold on. Is that Cadian as an AWPer or a rifler? Because you ain't
in a super team is a rifling.
I'm not going to suggest
in a super team rifling.
Yeah.
But I still think if it's unlimited money, I know you've told me before Ents are like stepping up in terms of how much they're paying their players. Like it's kind of like Mouse when we had Frozen Robs Carrigan. Like they were a feeder team and now they're paying properly now. Like Snappy's not easy to poach at all, but I think honestly, like if I was Falcons, I wouldn't even build a super team one by one. I would just buy Ents. And I think if you're going to buy Ents, you need to buy Snappy. And Snappy probably wouldn't leave Saw is the issue. Like you kind of neutering Zonic if you just make him a GM and have Saw involved. So Snappy's like my unrealistic choice, but I'm not sure how good he'd be without Saw. I think Saw does contribute a lot to that end system. So I think you just have to go with Shuey. I think you have to.
That's not actually my problem with Snappy.
He's also old.
And getting Snappy. Yeah. My problem with Snappy is I think to get Snappy you have to completely buy Ents. You have to get that Louvre spot now because Snappy's what, like 31, 32? I'm gonna look. So Snappy he's 33, bro.
33, yeah, he's really old.
Like he's 33. He's been around a long time, and he's the best IGL in the world right now. He is right now. He probably has been. Realistically, given what Ents have done in the last 2 years, he probably has been for 2 years. You know, he didn't have the luxury of...
I think Cadian's been better off at times.
Yeah, maybe if they'd actually won anything. But, like...
Because Ents have won so much.
No, I'm not saying that. But Cadian's also had, in that time, one roster change. Snappy's had to completely rebuild the system. Because of losing Spinks and then that not going well and then identifying nerds. I think what Ents have done in the past 2 years compared to any other team puts Snappy in his own special bracket. You know, he argue for Carrigan being the best IGL of last year, but he's got the same team now, and look where they're at. It's very clear now that was actually more just because you had a team going through an outrageous purple patch. But yeah, Snappy's 33 now. Like, let's say you get him in 2025 when the partner system's down, because Snappy already hates being outside of one partner league. He's not going to choose to be outside of another one. He don't want to do that. He doesn't deserve to do that, and he values himself higher than that, I'm sure. He'll be 34 then. Like, surely you're not going to get an IGL on the basis of, like, we have probably at most a year to make this right. Because realistically, how long can Snappy go at the level he's going now? I hope it's a long time, because I really like him. I hope he wins a major. I hope he wins everything he deserves to. But I'm aware he probably doesn't have that long to do it. So I think for that reason, if we don't go with Shuey, we are just kind of taking the piss. Like, it has to be. Unless some other random person appears. Unless, you know, Magisk is willing to become a full-time IGL. And then you get Magisk as well. Like, it's just got to be Shuey, right?
Yeah, I think the Magisk shout is actually a really good one, because the thing with Shuey is that we know he likes these CT rotate roles, right? And that kind of... And I know that you can just shaft an IGL and stick him in anchor spots, but I think generally that kind of just makes them call worse. I think having, like... We've seen AWPer stick about in connector for a long time, and even with Flames joining, Flames literally a con player, and AWPer is still playing con over him, like... But I think there is value to it. I think you help the other rotator out. I think especially if it's a partnership thing, like I think certain rotate spots, like B rotate on overpass, like actually you kind of... It's not quite as starry as maybe like the rotate makes it sound. Like that's a really good position for an IGL to play, because it's so supportive. It's so much about throwing utility and stuff like that. So I do think Shuey would need to stay in like a few spots. Like I think Shuey, if you're signing Shuey, he's not going to be active much, like realistically, which means you need to have either a star player who can anchor on some maps, or like you full nerf your full anchor. And Crimbo's like... We've got Crimbo now, so we're building around Crimbo. Like, Shuey and Crimbo, they both can play anchor spots, but we're already getting a little bit dodgy. So if you have Magisk IGLing, then that is, like, solved, because Magisk will anchor every single map and be amazing at it. So I can see both sides, but Shuey, I think, can adapt. That's ultimately... I'd still go with Shuey.
Here's where maybe we'd be disagreeing, but maybe not. I'm not too sure. I'd have Shuey with who else I'm going to say. I think I'd have Shuey and have him exactly where he wants to be. And, you know, maybe this is a point for when we've also said our pick for closer. I'd be putting...
We can bring it in now.
I'd be putting Crimbo on B Mirage. Personally.
Yeah, I would too.
So Shuey could have Con. So in that sense, maybe we're not building around Crimbo. But okay, then let's say we've got Shuey, and maybe we'll change to bring Magisk in later. Maybe we'll have a final rounder. We've got Shuey. Closer. I'll go first. I'm going to go with Frozen, because I think if we're saying that they don't get these players in until January 1st, 2025, there we go, I can speak now. If we're saying we're not getting these players until then, that's a year for them to play together. And, you know, this Mouse team could be great. It could be. But it's also a team with very young players. And yes, you can win with kids. You know, they just won Pro League. Can they win consistently? I don't know. And maybe in a year's time, they view Falcons with a combined partnership together. They view that as the next step in their career, right? And Frozen is an exceptional player. Might have slightly inflated stats because of his role.
One of his role.
Okay. But you still have to be good to have those stats look like that. You can't, like, if you're a bad player, they don't look like that. And I think for that reason, with his age, I think Frozen's the perfect player to be the closer in our team.
Yeah, I love Frozen, right? Like, it's just that thing of, and I really like the idea of trying to keep like a Mao's core. Like I think what I said about Ents, same true for Mao's. Like if you buy Gym Pat, Frozen, Shuey, and then just get a star, like, and then just upgrade Exertion and Georgie, like that's the best thing in the world. Like it's the same thing. I think if I was doing a team building thing like this with unlimited money, I'd still try and keep cores, and I think that's why I like the Frozen idea a lot. Just for that little bit of cohesion, a little bit of playing together. Like if you're doing 5 players who've never played with each other, it gets really rough really fast. So I like the Frozen idea. He can anchor on like 2 maps as well. That can help. But
well,
honestly,
I think we're going to say the same name for opener. So like, I think Frozen would be our A anchor on Mirage.
Yeah, he already is, right? Frozen already anchors on Mirage.
Oh yeah, he does, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like this is what I mean. Like Frozen is versatile. He can do stuff like that. But I think there's also like, I've heard that Twist is like actually basically a free agent right now. By the way, because FaZe are just fucking it. So I think if we're doing the realistic side of it, I think Twist could be looking for a new team. I think he would actually be solid as like he's too good to be a stopgap. But do you know what I mean when I say that? Like, kind of how FaZe treated Twist. Like they signed him as like one of the marquee signing before Carrie came in. And before Robs came in, he obviously had more star roles, right? And I think Falcons could do a similar thing if they get Twist as a free agent like soon-ish, because FaZe are just in the dumps. Like, come on, let's just get him out of there. Have Twist as your star player for now, and then you can kind of move him around later. I think that would be a good shout. But yeah, long term, ideally, you'd want a Frozen, a Robs, Kesara if he speaks English. Like, you want these types of players more than others, and I think it's the same thing as well. Like if you're getting snappy, I'd just stick Nerds in because it makes sense, and because these are the guys that know how to get the best out of them. So I think if I'm going to have Shuey, I would want Frozen as well. I think Frozen is probably been top 5 rifler this year easily. Like by the stats, I think he's top. Like actually just as good as Nico statistically. So yeah, I think Frozen and Shuey, like that's a duo that should stick together, in my opinion. So if we're getting Shuey, I'll just get on board. I'll say, let's get Frozen in as well, even if he is a betting little bitch.
Fantastic. Yeah, okay. I mean, you had to get it in at the end. I'll be honest, I was expecting
literally
you to go for Rock.
Saves more than most AWPers, by the way. Just wanted to just mention it.
iTest tells you that. You don't even need to fucking look at stats for that. I will be honest, I really was expecting you to still say ROPS. Because we had a brief conversation about this earlier, and I was actually quite surprised when you said ROPS, so I thought you'd have some strange Harry reasoning for it.
Well, the Harry reasoning is that I think he's the best lurker in the world right now. That's the Harry reasoning. And I also think he's a massive nerd about CS2, and that he's going to get up to speed on CS2 really quickly as well. I just think ROPS is really good, to be honest. I think ROPS is he's really kind of a better version of Frozen, but, you know, he's slightly more experienced, probably slightly less hungry. Frozen's like 22 or something stupid. Like he's got a lot of maps under his belt, but yeah, 21 maybe. But like I think Frozen will retire a lot earlier than pros that have a more normal like career trajectory, just because he's played so many maps. So yeah, Frozen's not. It doesn't mean Frozen can retire when he's 35, but Frozen's probably going to retire when he's like 28, 29. But that's still, you know, you still got a good 7 years. I think that's why I'd go for Frozen over Robs, is just the Shuey partnership and just a little bit younger. That's basically it. But I do think Robs is a better player right now. But we're trying to do the realistic super team, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so opener, you go first.
Donk.
Oh
no, I mean Val. Well, Nico. It has to be Nico, right? It has to be Nico.
It has to be.
You throw everything you have at Nico. Nico is the only rifler in CSGO history, I think, that is this consistently good. And I think he can do it from any role. Like, he's such a good asset to just have it. Like, if you're calling around Nico, like, you can do anything. Like, he is the only aggressive rifler who isn't dog shit. And, Donk's like 17 and looks amazing, but also definitely doesn't speak English. He's probably toxic as shit. Just get Nico instead.
Yeah, I mean, look, I said earlier, realistically, there is a world where Nico loves playing with Hunter too much that he refuses to go
Bring him as
somewhere
well.
without it. If that's the case, yeah, fuck off someone else in the team, get Hunter in. Like Hunter as well, like per pieces in his role, he's top 5 in the world. Like Hunter's fucking great, even if he's like 28 or whatever. Nico, say what you want about Nico and what he's won. There isn't any rifler in the history of CSGO, and I'm including Get Right, I'm including Olafmeister, I'm including Cold Zera, that can do what Nico can do. There is no rifler to ever have as high as a peak as him. He is, without a doubt, the greatest rifler to ever touch the game. And I can't see that dropping off in CS2 for a couple of years, especially with how the gunplay is right now, because that motherfucker knows how to click on heads. And I think the second point for Nico as to why it has to be Nico is IM was just budget Nico. And look what Shuey did with IM. You imagine what he can do with Nico. Can you imagine? Like,
it would be nuts.
That would be the best version of Nico.
And I also think he's gettable, honestly.
Possibly.
But I think he's gettable based on maybe you have to bring Hunter along instead of Frozen, or maybe you need to bring his favourite little AWPer buddy. And I think Nico would come along if we secured Monacy as the AWPer. I think that is how you get Nico. Is like same when you get Shuey, like little package deal. We'll keep a little bit of your synergy. So yeah, I think Nico is obviously the slam dunk, and I think you do whatever you have to get him. If that involves Hunter, that's fine. Hunter's not Lucas 1. He's actually good at the game. It's fine if they're a package deal. Like, that's completely fine by me.
No, I completely agree. Like, yeah, okay, fucking Frozen, or like even Crimbo, if you wanted to cook Hunter because you'd rather have Frozen, that's fine. Look, like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's a bit of an oof. But if you need to get
Frozen
get
good
Nico,
anchor.
if you need to do that, yeah, I'd like either one of Crimbo or Frozen. I think Crimbo's incredible. I think Frozen's incredible. You ain't losing much if you get Hunter. In fact, you might be gaining something in certain aspects. Yeah, like Hunter's still top 5 in most roles in the game for me. So yeah,
versatile
opener,
as well.
Yeah, exactly. So opener, it has to be Nico. There's no other shout. Which means we're left with AWPer, and you already said it. It's got to be Monacy, right? Like he's gonna be realistically the best player in the world in CS2. Like he's got the entire game ahead of him. Sure, Zywoo could have the entire game ahead of him as well. I don't think Simple will be playing for much longer. Personally, I think we get 2-3 years maximum out of him before he retires. Monacy will see this game through the entire way. That I am confident of, because I think there's also a world where Monacy, if he loses some of his mechanical skill, will adapt. He'll potentially become a rifler, or he'll become a Cadian Fallen style IGL, because the kid's so smart. Like I think there's a world where, you know, whatever game comes next, fucking Counter-Strike 720, Monacy's still playing in that as well. Like it has to be Monacy, right? Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think so, right? But I think we're doing this on the assumption that Zywoo's out of reach as well. I think if we're honest, like any team in the world would get Zywoo. Really, because I just do think Zywoo has the consistency that Monacy has never shown he has. I think Monacy, for all your eye tests and all this, At the moment, Elliot calls him a moments player, right? And Elliot means that as a compliment. He means it as in he's Didier Drogba and he'll score the winning goal in the final. But when I hear that, I think I'd just rather have someone who gets 30 kills every game, to be honest. Like, Munacy has these peaks and troughs that are just... And I know that will probably improve over time and whatever. I don't really care. But Zaiwu doesn't need to improve over time. He's the best player in the world and has been for, like, honestly, since, like, Pro League last year, to be honest. That's when Sippen kind of started dropping off. Like, Zaiwu is an absolute freak. He's actually probably underrated because of all the fucking playoff agendas and shit like that.
And the Maui Snake no cultural impact bollocks.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of not bollocks. I kind of know what he means, but he is just a
phenom.
I
get what he
means.
Just...
Yeah, like his cultural impact is that he's just...
But he's not valid.
A fucking robot who's amazing at the game. Like, that is... Like, there's nothing you could point to in terms of, like, a simple or, like, whatever, but he's the fucking second best. Like it's... I think he is probably just going to be the best player in CS2 for 2, 3, 4 years, to be honest. I think Munacy is not quite as consistent. I think Munacy is probably a better pick because if you get Munacy, you get Nico, and that's like the package deal, whatever. But I think if we're being completely honest, you can't say you'd rather have Munacy than Zaiwu. Even if they're both on Chelsea contracts, like 8-year contracts, I'd still rather have Zaiwu.
So
I would.
So
I think he's wedded to Vitality.
Here's the way I'm looking at it. Because we're going from a realistic angle, right? Vitality have lost Zonic. They were reportedly a pay cut was part of that. Zaiwu is Vitality. I think the Saudis could offer... Falcons could offer Zaiwu as much money in a month, and I don't think there is a number they could reach and would be willing to reach that Vitality wouldn't match.
Yeah.
And I think in that instance, Zaiwu would stay with Vitality. I also think both of them are going to be the most expensive member of the team to pick up, I'm pretty sure. Like, Nico's going to be a close second, of course, and I'm sure Shui's buyout really fucking high. I'm sure Frozen's buyout's high. I'm sure all of these players outside of Crimbo's, because I don't think Big can afford to have that high buyouts. Maybe they can, I don't know. All of these players are going to have such high buyouts that would you get the player who's how many years younger is Munacy than Zaiwu?
Zaiwu's young.
Going off the basis
younger than
of
you
these
think.
Players. No, Zaiwu is. Zaiwu is young.
Zaiwu was a baby.
But
it's probably like 5 years. I guess Zaiwu's like 22, 23. Zaiwu's 22.
That's what I'm expecting.
Zaiwu's 22, Munacy's 18.
Yeah,
it's 4 year difference.
That's what I was expecting. It's still 4 years. So if you're saying, right, that you're signing these players with the intention that some of them will be there in 2030, let's say, you go for Munacy, right? And with what we said about Frozen and Shui and the idea of chemistry, right, we're not signing a core. But what if we take 2 players from 2 teams and add in a 5th player from another team? You're still building up that kind of chemistry. You're still adding less players from different places that don't know each other, and that chemistry, you hope, triangulates, I guess is the word. Maybe. I don't know. And comes together easier than we got 2 players from here, and then 1 player from here, 1 player from here, 1 player from here. Right? Like,
yeah, I think that's really important.
That would be my argument.
Honestly, looking at it right now, I'd maybe just have Yimpat as well instead of Crumbo. Like, looking at this now, I think the core of a team is just like, it's so invaluable to have time playing together. I think when you cobble together loads of pieces, I think it can be really iffy really quickly. I think.
So here's the thing though, with Yimpat, however you say it, I don't know. I'd agree, potentially, in a year's time. I'm not willing
not seeing
for him
enough
to be in this team. No, like I'm not willing for him to be in this team. Ask me again, Copenhagen, after Copenhagen. Like, we'll be doing one of these episodes. You'll randomly be like, Jimfat for the super team now, and I'll be like, yeah, sure. Right now, it's too early. I can't do it. So for that reason, I'm sticking with Munacy. Do you agree, or are we going to have to?
I agree.
Rock,
I agree
paper,
because of the
scissors,
realism
shoot.
thing. I agree that Zaiwu, even on like half the money the Falcons would offer him, would stay with Vitality. I think he doesn't give a shit. Like maybe Jerome, maybe the Prodigy guy, his agent would care, but honestly, all of
We'd care
Vitality
because the
apart from
agent fee
Magus.
would be massive.
Well, no, but the thing is, Vitality aren't just Prodigy. Like 4 of their players are Prodigy, so like.
Oh
I think
yeah,
he's
it's
fine.
outrageous. It's outrageous.
I think he's fine. Like, yeah, they just don't get it. Like, Magus is literally the only one. And if Magus goes, they will just, hey, Jerome, you got any anchors, mate? You got any anchors? It's like, it's whatever.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that team.
They're just not Prodigy?
No.
Did he not?
Pretty sure.
No, I thought it was.
Pretty sure he's not. All the Danes are like with
Oh,
some
yeah,
guy in
yeah.
his bedroom, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a decent, like a dream super team. I think the more realistic one would be like, would have twists in it, maybe Magus because the IGL, stuff like that. I think it's more like those types of players than the Nico and the Manassi. I still holding out hope that they'll be like, no, like, okay, that Falcons team sounds pretty fucking gas, but also like Hunter and JKS are like pretty fucking good. Like I think you just kind of cut hooks
it's
at
also
some point
better.
for Suri.
It's also
in
kind
G2,
of
right?
it's also kind of better for the scene if those players stay with G2 because
Yeah, I'd
G2
much rather
will
they stay
remain
with G2.
competitive. Like it's
Much rather that.
it's better we have multiple quote unquote super teams than one
Yeah.
super team to beat them all.
What I'd be happy with Falcons doing is like they probably still have Boros, like a Boros Magus, like it's fine, MHL, whatever, I don't care.
Right,
Like,
fuck about this ain't a
Twist.
fucking super team anymore.
No,
Let's
but
not
this is what I mean. I
talk
don't
about it,
want them to be a super team. I want them to be dog shit and spend money on bad players and stay dog shit so I don't have to care about the sportsmanship thing. That's what I want, right? But I think the realistic thing is that Magus can twist. Players like that will be the ones that join. I think if like I see a Munacy, a Device, but also very, very likely Simple, so likely to
yeah.
because he is not asked anymore. He will just come there. So I think
No,
honestly,
I mean,
if I had to do like a prediction, it would be like a Twist, Simple, Magus, Boros, and then God, where are you even looking now? Maybe Crimbo. Maybe they'd be smart enough to get a Crimbo or a NAF type guy. But honestly, I think Simple will end up in this team. I think Twist will end up here. Yeah.
Then it would be
fine.
Crimbo enough because that's where you're looking at the world of players who are fed up with their teams being average. Because Liquid ain't getting any better anytime
if this
soon.
is like a retirement home / players who still think they're not in a retirement home but actually are in a retirement home, then yeah, it's like that's the simple.
I mean,
that's the simple route.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I see actually happening. And maybe that team can be top 5. I kind of hope Falcons, like, I care a lot less about sports washing than you do because I accept it being an inevitability. And at the end of the day, if ESL were paying me money, I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I just can't wait for Falcons to be playing in our ESL circuit. That's going to be fine.
So how could I complain about Falcons? I would find that to be incredibly hypocritical to complain about Falcons when I would happily take money from ESL.
I'm not doing it in a moral ground side way. I'm just doing it in a complaining about the reality. Like,
all sports washing is a moral ground thing. Like that word comes from a moral high point. It's just
it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's not bollocks.
Yeah, so you are doing it from a moral point. It is. It's bollocks. It's bollocks.
It's not bollocks.
All money, like... This is a different conversation, but like, okay, a lot of fucking Americans own English football teams. America's a fucking horrible country that's done a fucking load of horrible things. That's what the CIA has done. So, sure, say the whole shit about like Aldi's not like an LGBT and all this shit. I agree. I don't like it. I also don't like what Americans have done across the globe. So I'm not going to complain about Saudis. I'm not complain about those fuckers too. And that's just where we're at. All money is dirty money. So fuck moral high points because we don't get to have them. We don't get to have them. We can't have nice things. But yeah, okay. So we're in agreement. This team we've made is probably not happening because unfortunately Falcons will probably never be that, and probably that's a good thing. Because then we'll have multiple super teams. But what I do hope is Falcons build a team and I genuinely do hope for this, because the more good teams we have, the better. I hope they build a team that can be consistently top 5 in a year's time, challenge for trophies, and we end up with a world where G2, Vitality, hopefully a Danish team, pray to God it's Astralis because they have Device, and seeing Blame F win things will make people sad, and that's good. But yeah, Vitality, Ents, Astralis, G2, Falcons, some other fuckers. Yeah,
we need a good Navi. We need a good Navi.
We need a good Navi because they pull in views. I've got to write an article about Blast tournaments with views, and holy fuck, every most viewed game is Navi. It's
Navi,
hilarious.
every time.
Every
sticker
single one
capsule.
It's literally
the
like
most money.
Quarterfinals. They're like quarterfinal games as well. It's outrageous. Navi, and then because it'd also be good for the scene. Liquid or Complexity with an NA core if it's Liquid. Hopefully we've got all of these teams.
As long as Yakinder and Patsy are out, I'm on board. Get them gone.
Get them gone. That can all be in the top 5 at any given point, and you look at a playoff bracket and you think, fuck me. Oh, and Cloud9, of course. That makes 8. So that's an 18 playoff bracket. I would love it if, you go into any event and you think, fuck me, any of these teams, if they're all in the playoffs, can win this. And you're not thinking that because in your head you're thinking, wow, all these teams are inconsistent as fuck. Thank you, Heroic and FaZe, and G2 for a time. You're thinking, shit, they're all really good. They're all really good. And hopefully that's what Falcons brings. So yeah, our super team, Shui, Crimbo, Nico, m0NESY, Frozen. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's a banger team.
I think it's a banger team. It's not like the best team. It's not literally the best 5 players in the best 5 roles, but I think we've done a decent job. And I think the Nico m0NESY rumors kind of make us, we're allowed to pick them because it's literally been rumored. So
it's a team that makes sense, right? We've provided. Yeah. Okay. Sound.
We don't need to justify it.
No, but I think we did justify it well. I think we gave good reasons.
Well, we'd hope so.
Just for the sake of it, so you do your little Harry thing. Mirage CT side rolls, please, Harry. Where's everyone fit?
Oh, that's an obvious one, isn't it? Well, Nico's in con.
Well, it's obvious for us, but for some people it might not.
Nico's in con. Oh, actually, are we shafting? Because I think Frozen's got to play A. Crimbo currently plays short.
I think Shuri and Nico are interchangeable, to be honest.
Nico's con, I don't care. So Nico's in con. I'd have Frozen A. Oh, this is this thing, like the roles are actually, like, as much as they made sense when we look at overall over the maps, on Mirage, I think I'd have Crimbo short, Shui B. Okay. Or Crimbo A and Frozen short. Crimbo A, Frozen short sounds better. I'll do that. Fuck it. Because Nico's in con. So Shui would be learning a new spot anyway. He might as well learn B, because he's the worst player on this team.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I think it's.
I think Shui would rotate on all the other maps. I think it would be like a few IGLs just play B on Mirage.
Do overpass tests then.
Oh well, then Shui's rotating. Nico plays A, and Nico is playing overpass because we're not letting Nico ever touch Vertigo. So Nico A, Frozen short, Crimbo, and it'd be Shui short. It'd be Shui short, Frozen rotate because Frozen is more of a bitch than Shui.
Sound.
So yeah, fine. That is also fine.
I'm happy with that. But what about you guys? What team would you be building if you were Falcons? Would you be our good friend Dickel and just be signing 5 Jam Youngs, or would you have a more sensible option that maybe involves Magisk as an IGL or otherwise? Let us know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Apparently, me and Harry can do podcasts, which is good. I won't have to keep scrounging around for guest episodes that don't happen. We will see. But I've been Sam Animo Mackenzie. He's been Harry Nero Richards, and we'll catch you in the next one.